but I want to take a moment just to say for today how honored I am to be able to share some time as we think about America, talking with Duane Two Bulls and Virgil Red Cloud Goode from the Oglala Lakota tribe, and be able to hear their reflections. And to do the formal introduction of his good friends is Pastor John Moyle. John, before you start, just a bit of housekeeping. In the interest of time today, friends, if you have questions and observations, you'd be invited to put those in the chat so that we can be working throughout this time to hear your questions that way. We won't be able to probably bring a lot of people off of mute because, as I imagine, we will want to listen to our guests. But please do put your questions or noticings in the chat, and we will have some time of taking those questions towards the in about 40 minutes. Take it away, John.
Thanks. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Moyle. I'm one of the pastors at the Oak Brook Church in Reston, Virginia, and I'm really excited to have this opportunity to introduce to all of you two really good friends of mine, Duane Two Bulls and Virgil Red Cloud Goode. As Becca mentioned, they're from the Oglala Lakota tribe. They live in Pine Ridge, South Dakota. We're talking about faith250, 250 years since the founding of the United States, and I think it's wonderful. We've been gathering in our clusters and a variety of different faith groups, meeting together and building relationships, crossing those divides, removing stones from the walls that divide us, and building, these cross-religious relationships, if you will. And yet, I think many of us don't have opportunity to meet and connect with Native Americans, the first Americans. And I think this is a great opportunity to do just that. I do want to thank Becca really quickly. Becca is a great friend of mine. We've served together in the past, working with the immigrant population here in Northern Virginia. So this is a blessing to be able to do this with her. I'm going to give Duane and Virgil an opportunity to introduce themselves to you all. Before we do that, though, Virgil had last night asked if maybe we could just start with a prayer together, and I thought that was a great idea. And so, Virgil, I can turn that over to you or to Duane, either one, if you would like to lead off of a prayer this afternoon.
I'd like to ask my little brother to say a prayer, Duane. I really honor and respect him like that always. So I'm going to depend on him at this time to say a prayer, opening prayer for us in a good way.
Nice. Well, thank you. I guess as John and Virgil said, just express ourselves in an open mind and ground a good, strong feeling to each and every one of us. So with that, just ask each and every one of you to bear along with me at this time as I express myself to the Great Spirit, Creator, Heavenly Father, God, like that. So thank you very much. Creator, Heavenly Father, God, just say thank you today as we give our praise and our glory once again to express our humble selves. And as you see us as we are today, just give us strength and guidance and protection today as we move forward, as we do our humble best to express some truths that have been hidden behind a lot of politics, a lot of beliefs out there. I just ask for blessings for each and every one of us as we move our way from here today, as we do our best to express and to share in a very beautiful way. And I ask for just protection for each and every one of us as we navigate forward, as we try to come to a healing sensation with each and every one in our lives. So I thank you and give you all the praise and the glory. Amen.
Amen.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you, Duane. Thank you. I just wanted to mention quickly before I ask them to introduce themselves and share a little bit about themselves to you all. I met Duane and Virgil here over the last few years when I've had opportunity to visit Pine Ridge. Our church is interested in building these relationships in which we cross divides, where we connect with people who are of a different culture or a different faith tradition than we are. But in the process, trying to really go deep and try to immerse ourselves in the culture and the religion of those around us, and in the process, really coming into a place of deep fellowship with other people. And so it's been a incredible time over the past several years getting to know these men. So, Virgil, I'd just like you to take a moment to introduce yourself, maybe just a minute or so of a little bit of background about you.
My name is Lutawashte Hokshila. That's my Lakota given name. My English name is Virgil Red Cloud Goode, Jr. I come to you out of the Black Hills of South Dakota. During your visits, we did a lot of spiritual and a lot of, I would say, cultural immersion to get your group to better understand our way of life. Our way of life is the foundation of prayer, and the next generation being the most important. So it is already given by birth, this generation, our generation, that responsibility to make sure that our next generation knows of our history, our stories, our song of Wakantanka, that there is a great spirit, and to follow the spiritual, what I call the original instructions of the ancestors. So I thank you very much.
Virgil, quickly, you are a descendant of Chief Red Cloud. I was wondering if you could just share just a bit about that.
So my mother ascends from the Chief Red Cloud of the Great Sioux Nation for many years. He took care of his people. He made really vital decisions before Washington to establish and make what we see today as Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. So through that direct descent and through that bloodline, my mother is the 5th generation. I am the 6th. And now in 2026, we are coming upon the 7th generation, the most important generation, that they will in return be our teachers and show us. Our ancestors will come back through premonitions and prophecies of the ancestors. This next generation, these young ones, these spiritual beings, are our next teachers of tomorrow. So we have to make sure that the tradition, the culture, the heritage, the story, and the language, most important, the language. And we have to make sure that they know, where they come from, how the generations go back to those that lie in the greasy grass and those that lie in the Wounded Knee, South Dakota. Our ancestors put down our lives so we can be here. So I come from the 6th generation chief descent of the great chief of the Great Sioux Nation for many years. And I take that with honor, and I do the best that I can to help the people in this 2026 modern day.
Thank you, Virgil. And Duane, I was wondering if you could take a minute to share a little bit about yourself.
Yes, I can do that. Thank you, John. Well, I just want to say good afternoon to each and everyone on the call, all the listening audience. Just very grateful for a humble, kind opportunity to share and to just simply share viewpoints on our perspective and how we operate as Lakota people. Just doing our best to move forward in an onward fashion. Despite being survivors, despite overcoming a lot of challenge within the generations, just doing our best to kind of keep our circle tight knit and trying to keep our circular way of life wholesome, moving forward for our future generations. And I'm a I want to say I'm a soldier of the Creator. I'm a soldier of the Creator, just doing the best that I can, just to help out, to um, just simply make sure that our future generations are going to be okay. Because in our thought process, in the way that we know it, a lot of our descendants, a lot of our ancestors, they made sure to think that any decision that was made, it made its way, and it was thought about as far 7 generations ahead. So I could honestly say in my current generation that there's 7 generations past me and there's 7 generations in front of me. And so I'm just very grateful to share that opportunity. I come from direct lineal chief descent, whether on both my paternal side and my maternal side. And it's just, with that, knowing that our old elderly people, we coming from a chief's family, it was just already automatic to take care of our family, take care of the people, take care of the 4 directions in the best way that we can. And so moving forward, just thinking of it that way, knowing the bloodline that I come from, it's very sacred, it's very holy as we know it. And so I just do my best, like as an obligation to the nation, to make sure that no matter how far we go, there's always going to be the future generations that are going to be in thought. So just kind of wanted to share a little bio. I know I've just been so busy with everything else, so I'm just really grateful I have some time to chime in and do my best to share. And I'm very appreciative to all the organizers of this webinar. I'm just very humbled. It kind of brings back a lot of memories, whenever we talk about our history. And so I just do my best to kind of stay on top of that as a next generation perspective. So I say thank you very much.
Duane, you had shared with me back in August that your descent, you said your ancestors rode with crazy horse. Is that correct?
Yep. We're a direct descendant of Chief Comes Again, and there was about 7 of them. There was that rode with Chief Crazy Horse back in 1876 of the Battle of Little Bighorn, or the Battle of Greasy Grass, as it's also known as. Chief Comes Again, High Eagle, Red Shirt, kills 100. I want to say Pemmican, and let me see if I could remember. High Eagle. And so we all come from that direct descent, and in our bloodline, it's considered we were considered hostile. We were considered renegades. We were considered as I've seen in the language, we were a part of the merciless Indian savages. And so it's just very funny to talk about. But I guess, like, also our bloodline was renegade because we had nothing to do with signing the treaty, and we were non-treaty signer. So it was just very survival, a lot of survival that went along, a lot of perseverance, a lot of endurance to get our generation to where we are today.
Thank you, Duane. Thank you, Virgil, for those backgrounds. Appreciate it very much. So I wanted to start off with a question. And as we've mentioned, that this year's the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States of America. And so my question for you both is, what meaning does this anniversary have to Native Americans and to the Oglala Lakota specifically? Virgil, well, I guess I'll start with you with that question.
I have read this question as well in the list of questions that may be asked. And I really thought about it last night, and thinking about it and praying about it, putting forth prayer first about how I'm going to express. So I thought about it, and I thought about the meaning. I thought about it 250 years ago. Where were we as a indigenous people? Where were we as non-native people in this world? Coming together to discover this new world, when this new world was already inhabited by the indigenous First Nations people. And from what had been told to me was that at the time of discovery, the people were hungry, they were starving. So the indigenous at that time showed them how to hunt, how to garden, how to survive, with prayer being their foundation, honoring of Mother Earth, of the waters and the rivers and the streams that make up her her veins on this Maka, this new world they thought they discovered, but was already inhabited by the indigenous people of this world. So when I thought about it, I thought that that would be the best way to explain it, and that I am very grateful that the indigenous people at that time were very compassionate, very loving, very generous, and showed these new people coming off of this shit how to survive on Mother Earth.
Duane, what are your thoughts in response to that question?
Let me see. To the indigenous nations, it's about 250 years of annihilation and genocide on behalf of a manifest destiny that was designed to desecrate our lands, the lifeways, and ultimately the indigenous nations as the original stewards of the lands and treaty territories. I guess, like, despite a new way coming, despite a new beginning that it was, our original lifeways was also under threat, despite carrying compassion, despite having a lot of patience and perseverance. You know, we didn't even know that come this far our nations would be kind of like the table would turn after a while, you know. And as a result, you know, we have a lot of factors that go along with it, you know. We were placed from a circular way of life, and we were pretty much forced on four corners to dwell, you know. Pretty much taking away our circular lifestyle, and we had to learn how to grow cattle. We had to learn how to grow crops. We had to learn how to use flour, implement all these different things that in the long run would affect our people and still affect our people today.
You know, Duane, you had mentioned earlier, you alluded to the line in the Declaration of Independence that referred to Native Americans as the merciless Indian savages. And that's the very document that we in America hold up and say, you know, hey, this is our beginnings and it's something to be celebrated. And I just wanted to maybe hear your response to that, and how does that make you feel when you read that, and you know, what thoughts does it kind of bring to your minds?
I guess it's a long history, John. It's a long history. A lot of acts of genocide were pressed hard upon our people, but then again, there was a lot of a lot of gratitude that went along with it. You know, despite having direct generational descent and actually undergoing all the trauma, all the generational trauma, we still found gratitude. You know, I always say possessing the attitude of gratitude, because nevertheless, you know, somewhere somewhere back there in the bloodline, somewhere back there, maybe a grandma or a grandpa prayed so that the generation that we're at hand today, we're able to fully possess, fully grasp a hold of what's at hand, and do the humble work, do the Creator God's work of breaking the cycle. And despite it all, just try to smile through it. Like a lot of feeling goes with, all our tribal membership. It goes along differently, or it affects them all differently. But I've been able to be in this type of work, be able to be in the knowing, or how different people say staying woke. Just doing my best to navigate all these colonial systems that were built to press us, but also we were able to build it up to where we could pretty much outsmart that colonial system and be strategic, and be able to just keep on moving along, especially in this present day with this current administration that's at hand, you know, um, with all the executive orders from the President of the United States. He signed a lot of executive orders, wanting to desecrate our lands, wanting to put up data centers, wanting to utilize the artificial intelligence, not knowing the natural effects that it would have, by sucking up our water systems, and allowing foreign companies to come into our homelands still to extract our minerals, the uranium, the lithium, the gold, the silver. It's still a thing today, and we're still doing our best to go up against all these barriers, these colonial barriers. But like I said, it's just like as being a soldier of the Creator, being able to have that knowing and have that compassion, patience, perseverance, we're able to get through it. So I hope that answers your question, John.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Thank you,
just
Duane.
want to say thank you. I heard you say the most painful truth of 250 years of and plus of annihilation and genocide, and also gratitude,
Yeah,
and the way that someone prayed for their future generations that would allow that sort of strength to be felt now. That's really powerful. When you said lifeways, circular lifeways, can you tell me what you mean by that? And John, then I'll let you ask the next question. I just wanted to hear what that means.
yeah. Well, our circular lifeways, as I don't know if many of you seen, like when it comes to especially our Plains tribes, indigenous nations,
Mm-hmm.
they have what they call a medicine wheel, and the medicine wheel, it represents life itself, and it also, on our medicine wheel, it has the four sacred colors: black, red, yellow, and white. And to an extent, it represents the four races of mankind. And also, it's a teaching tool. It's our four seasons, our four stages of life. And so with that concept, the circular way of life is wholesome. And in our circular way, where the hoop of life, basically, where there is no beginning and where there's no end. And so whenever we had to survive these colonial constructs, we were forced to have a faith of religion. A lot of the Catholic Church came and pressed more annihilation on our people. And now today, despite all the genocide, all the annihilation that the Catholics brought, they want to call themselves by like submerging with our people, our nation here, and being able to get a gist of what our Lakota lifeways look like. You know, they I want to say they have the nerve to call themselves Lakota Catholics. And so, and that's what they portray themselves, you know, the ones that are here on our homelands. But to me, you know, we survived a lot of generational cleanup, as you could say, to, you know, barely get our lifeways going, you know, to barely have a chance to share with our young people, because our young people, they're I see that they really yearn to be where our lifeways are, and they want to know who they are, they want to know where they come from. And so I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Duane. Virgil, I wanted to give you an opportunity to respond to that question about the Declaration of Independence and that line that's in it that talks about the merciless Indian savages, and how does that make you feel? You know, with this document being so seminal, so important in this nation's history.
So from what was told to me, I always listen, you know, listen to nature, listen to your elders, listen to your grandmother and grandfather. They're going to tell you histories of knowledge dating back to times in those tragic moments when they didn't know what to do. The very coming together and doing the ghost dance, that was when the soldiers had their guns pointed at you and you didn't know what to do. The first thing you could think of is Wakantanka and the prayers that need to be said, the foundation of our people. The generations must continue somehow, some way. So those crucial decisions, those crucial choices at that time are the same foundational choices and decisions that we have today. So to calmly and compassionately explain to you this very answer to this question starts from campfires and elders and ancestors listening as a young child to their stories, to their real life stories, the realistic reality of what is being a Lakota in this day and age, that survival, that perseverance. So when they call me a hostile savage, you know, we go back into our black and white photos and we try to learn about the Plains Indians. And you can see that not any one of those warriors on those horses are smiling. They're not trying to take a selfie. These were people at that time who put their children and generation first, who made crucial decisions and choices. Now, today, we are told we are Native American, when in actuality, we come from the Teton, Lakota, Sioux. We are Lakota, but we are also one nation of Lakota. And we have the seven council fires that makes up the Ocheti Shakowin. So we are never alone with our allies, our brothers and sisters of this region. We are a powerful force. I look at our generations today, these young people. These young people are being born with the ability to heal. These young people are our future leaders of tomorrow, and they have healing abilities. They can see. So the same medicine that was inside the ancestors at Wounded Knee and the Battle of the Greasy Grass, that medicine then goes forth to this next generation. So I look around and I see these young ones, and I also see a Unchi, a grandmother. I see a grandfather. They come back to help us, to bring us strength, to bring us more understanding. So today, I always practice that Lakota kinship, how we see each other. And I don't see any savages. I see our future leaders, and I'm very proud. I'm not afraid because they're really smart. They're scholars. I have a Toshka. He's really gifted, really talented. Use his hands to make art, to help people. That's that medicine, same medicine that elder ancestor carried to help each other. So I don't see very much of a savage unless you want me to go out on the plains and do the you know, I can do that. But I am a Lakota. We have a way of life. We have a foundation, and that foundation starts with the core root of who you are. That makes up the sum of who you are. I hope that answers your question.
It does. Thank you, Virgil. You know, there's so much misunderstanding or just a lack of understanding that Americans have about Native Americans, certainly the Lakota. And one of those areas is in the area of spirituality. And I wanted to ask a question, because we're talking about Faith 250, we're talking about trying to build unity, we're talking about trying to bring down the walls that divide us and so forth. I wanted to ask each of you to speak your thoughts about the Lakota phrase, Aho Mitakue o Yasin. And what does that mean to you? And what does it mean actually for the world? And Duane, I guess I'll start with you.
Yeah, I guess just like I explained earlier, I'm just very grateful for the question that was brought up about as far as the Lakota terminology, Metakue Oyase, and all my relations. Each and every one is connected. The never ending hoop of life, where there's no beginning or where there's no end. It's just always wholesome. There's no breaking point of it. And so I guess like it's just in a sense of understanding, it means to always have that good faith and carry that good compassion. And these words are very important because, like, um, especially now in this day and age where we're at, and with the politics, what's going on in DC, like how my auntie, my grandmother, she shared with me a lot of times whenever a lot of challenges, a lot of hard times came about. She always said, grandson, do your best to grasp a hold of one another, you know, grasp a hold of one another and show the Creator God, how much we mean to one another. Because if we just only do it at a certain time or only whenever it seems convenient, it really don't mean nothing. And I guess it goes along the lines of how she always told me, bring me my flowers now while I'm alive, so that I could smell them, I could see them, I could show everyone around me the beautiful flowers that you gave, so that whenever it's time for me to leave this world, I'm gonna take these flowers to the Creator and show them all the beautiful flowers that my loved ones bestowed upon me.
Virgil, what would you add to Duane's description?
Very specific. A lot of what we pray about, what our prayers are about, are very specific, followed through from our grandmother, her very advice, very specific, So I just wanted to add to that and just highlight the word specific.
One of the things that really opened up my eyes when I learned about this term, Mitaku Yasin. It first jumped out at me because I always heard it spoken at the end of every prayer, that I knew it had to be really important to be included at the end of every prayer that's lifted up. And I began to learn that this idea of all my relations and that we're all connected, that it is not confined to a single tribe or a single people group, but that it actually includes all of humanity and even beyond, that actually it's the entire universe is all connected, that everyone belongs, that in essence there's a oneness. And you know, that changed kind of everything for me as I began to understand that there's a theology that, and it's not even just a theology, it's an understanding of just life, that in which everybody is included, and that uh, the good for one is actually a good that goes to all. And is there anything else you wanted to share about maybe this idea of how we're all connected, and how might that be used possibly going forward as we look at such a divided nation?
How would it help America now?
So the concept of Midakyu Oyase goes back to the beginning, goes back to when the very foundation of Unchi Maka, she brought people to earth. We are all brothers and sisters. We may be brothers and sisters of many colors, but we are all brothers and sisters on this Unchi Maka, on this earth. And so we all must help each other. Our paths in this life, spun in the universe, is a great mystery called a dream catcher. That dream catcher is intertwined with little knots, all these little knots. Well, related, we're all together on this Mother Earth. Inside those webs of the dream catcher, our paths cross each other. So the brother and the sister, they help each other along the way. All these different colors, the black, the red, the yellow, and the white, they come together in prayer, like the prayer medicine wheel Duane talks about, around that Mother Earth, that Unchi Maka. And in there is directions, east, north, west, south. That blood, that very veins that are in my hands, that blood is the same blood that you bleed, brother, sister. It's the same thing. We drink the same water. In our everyday walk of life, we drink water. We are all related. So that whole concept of Midakyu Oyase, all relations. At the end of the prayer, when you say the prayer, you say Midakyu Oyase. As you're offering up that word of prayer to a great spirit in the universe. And you want to include all of your relations that have gone before you and that have yet to come into this world. So at dinner time, to remember a loved one, you're going to take a portion of those food that you create for your family and some water, some mini, the water of life, add that to that and take it out for that loved one outside your home, maybe in your yard, a spiritual spot, you know. You put it down and you're going to say, Midakyu Oyase. So all these spiritual relatives of every color, of every race, as we are all brothers and sisters in this world, this Unchi Maka, this Mother Earth, all those spirits are going to come. They're all going to take from that in a good way.
Unji Maka is grandmother. Unchi is grandmother specific, and Unchi Maka is grandmother of
The earth.
all.
Yep.
Grandmother Earth.
Grandmother Earth. Oh, okay. I love that.
Duane, did you have anything else that you wanted to add to what Virgil just shared?
I think he got it pretty good.
Okay. Rebecca, did we have any questions that we wanted to take, or should we continue on with the
Well,
questions we have prepared?
I think that you have wrapped all of us so that I didn't see people wanting to do anything except for listen. But at this time, if those of you who are here in the webinar have a question that you want to pose, I hope that you do. I think there are people who are really open to listen and learn, and I wonder, is there a question that you wish people would ask more often and don't?
Hmm. I guess more or less just being able to, like how I shared, staying woke, being able to have that open mind, you know, but it's kind of hard, in a linear lifestyle. And I say linear because like that was a part that was we had to learn, and to be in that circular lifestyle, you have to, it's an everyday thing, being able to rise in the morning and giving thanks, because every day is a gift. Every day we're given the breath of life, and we have to share that gift with the world. And I guess just being able to possess that openness, that oneness, as John was saying earlier, and to I guess hold compassionate space for the times that we're in. And I guess how I said earlier that just being able to embrace one another, hang on to one another, showing the higher power that we mean something to one another, instead of, you know, trying to find faults. And that was one of the things that I always say too, is that we're going to find faults in anything, or we're going to be grateful for everything. So
There is someone who asked a question, and I don't know that I fully understand it. Maybe we all can, maybe you do. What is the impact of the government using blood quantum as a way to define Native identity?
I guess maybe Brother Virgil can chime in on it too, but the impact of the government using blood quantum is a way to define um, our our uh, our tribe, or like any tribe. Blood quantum is a genocidal act. Just trying to see, where we're at, and it goes along the lines of our treaty obligations. Whenever the reservation was established under the Fort Laramie Treaty of 1851 and 1868, it was stated in there that any um, full-blooded Indians, I guess, or full-blooded Lakotas, would be put on reservations. And my grandmother, she really made sense of it too, coming along. She's a generational elder, and she said, grandson, look up that word reserve. Look up that word reserve, just the root word reserve. And I did that. And the root word was to put on the back, to put elsewhere for a time later. So basically, we were put on reservations to be put on reserve, so that somewhere to be utilized later. So I'm thinking that, putting all these concepts together, so that as soon as our bloodlines were died out, or as soon as our bloodlines were annihilated, basically, they have a chance to come back at us. They have another chance to I guess annihilate us some more. So I hope that answers your question. I think it was Gail.
Gail.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you.
A genocidal act to keep land to be used later.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess as we talk about these things, the listening audience, it's according to the Howard Dawes Act. And so if you research that, you kind of get the general breakdown of how we were conquered and divided, basically.
Mm-hmm.
How are the both of you able to hold to these just amazing teachings, these inclusive teachings that embrace, that include all people, when humanity, at least in this nation, has been so horrible to you and your people for hundreds of years? How are you able to get past the pain and move to that place of embrace? How is that done?
A lot of healing from within, a lot of knowing, a lot of understanding, holding space for our higher power, being able to have that connection with the higher power, and just maintaining that circular way of life, and just being able to shift that mindset. Because after a while, like how I shared earlier, of being able to be placed in four corners, just like you see on this Zoom chat, there's four corners. And then like we're trying our best to maintain what little of circular we have left. And so whenever it comes like that, like despite all the external colonial forces that are at hand, we're able to maintain that circular, and that comes from the heart, your mind, and your spirit. And just like how I'm pretty sure each and every one on this webinar, it tells of it in the Bible, of your mind, your body, and your spirit. And so they say, embracing that, and implementing it in our everyday walk of life, and just simply having strong mentality, strong spirituality, a strong heart, to be able to overcome all that. It's a sad thing. It's an emotional roller coaster ride, if you just kind of like let the thoughts kind of fester. But whenever you shift your mindset from I guess being placed on reservation mindset, like that's basically what it was. They placed us on four corners. Like, yeah, but yet we're expected to maintain our circular holistic lifestyle. And so, like, a lot of it nowadays, because of our life ways, and because of being placed on a reservation, our life ways are a lot of our life ways are kind of displaced, and that comes a lot with the mindset as well. Thinking of it, one of the references I was shared with, we call it reservation-itis. Reservation-itis is the downward spiral effects of the linear colonial system, where they want to be jealous, or they want to gossip about you, or they want to talk about you, or they want to let's see, the crabs in the bucket syndrome, and that's just being placed. Like that placement on the reservation was just more or less being placed in a spiritual stagnation, where our mental capacities kind of minimize and disconnect us from our circular whole way lifestyle. And so um overcoming all that, acknowledging all that, and then the longest journey that any of us will ever take in this life, that healing journey, is only a matter of 6 inches. It's a matter of our head to our heart. So they say that's the longest journey we'll take in our life. So I understand that as I move along in life, I'm able to say I've embraced it, and I'm able to keep it moving, keep it wholesome, so that the future generations, they can be a reflection of our actions that we leave here on Mother Earth.
Thank you, Duane. Virgil, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think my little brother did it all in like that in a real good way. Really appreciate how he explained it. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, the longest distance between your head and your heart, the longest we will have to travel. We did have someone ask if there are books or websites that they might be able to trust when it comes to accurate stories of Indigenous people, and also how can we best honor these communities and teachings in the midst of all the celebrations of the 250th. So I think if you might speak to either side of that, there's a group of people who really does want to take that journey from head to heart.
Yeah, for sure. I would reference Joseph Marshall the third. I think he's the third, but he's one of our Lakota authors that we have on our amongst our tribes, and there's a lot of stories, a lot of he has a lot of books too regarding our ways of life, and just knowing that, if you're able to pick up one of his literatures, it's very worthwhile. And let me see. Let me see here. What was the other question?
How do we best honor these communities and their teachings and histories in the
Oh,
midst of the celebrations
yeah.
of 250
Just,
this year?
I guess, just being able to keep it on the backside of your mind, that despite, the Declaration of Independence's 250th anniversary of the signing of it, just like having that knowing that there's indigenous nations throughout the four directions that have suffered, that have survived, and that are still here today. That's just it's a great timeline of survival, because a lot of our bloodlines, especially my bloodline, were deemed to be desecrated. We're deemed to be annihilated by gunfire and cannon fire, but yet we're still here. I'm able to say that my bloodline is still here today, and I'm very grateful for all the efforts, all the prayers, all the I guess the fight, the fighting chants that are my grandfathers, my ancestors, my grandmothers, they all had that thought of how I said earlier, of being able to be 7 generations behind, but yet trying to move forward in a 7 generations ahead.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And I think that was our last question. So, John, did you want to bring us to a close? I will say to those who are gathered, this video we will share, so you can review it again, you can share it with others, and there are ways for you to look at the Faith 250 Substack, faith250.org, and find ways to plug in to be able to discuss. We will be discussing the Declaration of Independence, and that would be a time for you to say locally some of the stories you have heard today, so that the learnings from today, that circle would expand and would continue. So thank you very, very much. I feel touched and honored.
You're welcome.
To add one thing, I know we're getting ready to close up and like that, but the celebration of the 250 of the Declaration, the Lakota and other indigenous repertoires throughout the world have one called the United Nations Declaration on the Rights for Indigenous People. That can also be that can also help educate you too and others by looking up that United Nations Declaration on the Rights for Indigenous People, which is now a legal document that is used in the UN. It had to get signed, but is now a legal document that we can use against our uranium companies, because indigenous people throughout the world now have a legal document that they can use, because in there it's recognized at the UN that we have the right to clean water. Mm-hmm. We have the right to grow and maintain our indigenous medicines as we see fit. We have the right to, as indigenous people, to pray, and however we choose to worship the Great Spirit. So while we're talking about the 250 Declaration of Independence, we could also highlight the United Nations Declaration on the Rights for Indigenous People.